Hello and welcome back to Frabby Farm. On today's Talking Tuesday, we are working on a dress. So I showed a lot of you guys this idea of making some dresses about 2 months ago. I was looking for some places I could source dresses and clothing that were natural fibers. If you've been keeping up with our journey, you have seen that we worked on the Great Clutter Clear Out and we cleared out a lot of synthetic fibers from our closet. So our closets got a little bit emptied out and I realized that I needed a couple more dresses that were cotton. Now unfortunately they were a little pricey because it is a little bit more expensive to make stuff with natural fibers, but I kept looking and persistently searching for clothing. It dawned on me one day that I could just make them because I've been sewing since I was 9. So I figured I would bring you guys along today to sew a dress with me and include a couple tips that would help you out if you're just now starting to sew and tap into that craft. So I'm gonna walk you through making this dress while giving you some tips that helped me when I first started sewing, and hopefully you guys enjoy the video. Let's jump into this project and let's get working. To give you an overview and an idea of what I am working on, I found this shirred fabric at Joann's fabric store and they were on sale. So I walked past and I was like, I wonder if any of that fabric is cotton. And I touched the black fabric and I was like, oh, that's cotton. And then I started looking through all the fabrics. A lot of the fibers were synthetic, and as soon as I touched them, I was like, oh, this is a polyester. So Frank and I went through every single bolt of fabric that they had and found 3 bolts that were made from 100% cotton. And it ended up being this black one, a cream one, and then this white one with little flower patterns on it. So I figured I would make a couple sundresses that I can work on the farm in or in the garden in and take them to farmers markets and just make some cute outfits that are cotton. They can live in my closet forever and they're breathable and will decompose when I throw them in my compost if I ever decide to get rid of them. To start off, measure your bust around. Usually you'll have enough fabric if you measure your bust and then just add a couple inches to that just to make sure. Alrighty, now if you're a skinny girl, all you have to do is measure your bust and then cut it from there, and that should be enough fabric for you. If you are blessed like me and have some wider hips, you're gonna wanna factor in your hips. So I'm going to measure out fabric around my hips. I now know I need about 30 inches of shirred fabric. Make sure that this lines up very well around my body again, and that I actually have enough space for my hips. So those 2 are lined up right there, and then we are just making sure that when it is at the bottom, that that fabric will be plenty for me to swim around in. Alrighty, so got that measured out. Let's set this back and let's get back to work. Now, if you're not sure if you can keep a straight line as you're sewing, you can rip it at the very beginning. So I'll show you guys. On shirred fabric, it's pretty easy to rip a fabric. You just measure out exactly where you want it and you cut down that seam. So you just cut down exactly where you want the size you want your dress, and when you get to the bottom of the shirred fabric, okay, when you get to the bottom of the shirred part of the fabric, you just stop cutting, and then it's cotton, so you rip it. Usually it rips perfectly even, so you can see it literally ripped like exactly down the middle, and we'll do it again. Hair bows out of this because I have a ton of that fabric. And then this one, oh, that might actually work for my sleeves. Yes. Sew it all the way down. Now, the only thing you have to worry about on this one is that everything is lined up well. So at this stage in life, I'm pretty well versed in what my sewing machine is supposed to sound like. So if you just heard both of those little pauses where I had to switch over and fix something, it's because I was sewing on the wrong stitch both times. And the first time it was just, I missed out a number when I pushed it in. And so I was stitching stitch number 4 instead of 14. And then the second time I ran out of thread and I could hear my sewing machine make different sounds as it messed up. So intuitive sewing is a thing, and I've just gained that over years and sewing with this machine since a long time ago. Me and this machine are best friends. Okay, so now everything's ready to go. Let's try again. Perfect. Lock you in place and let's go. Let's do a quick fitting and see if it fits. If it doesn't, I'm gonna cut this part out. Alrighty. Now at this point, the length is what's gonna bug me. Everything I do with the farming and stuff like that, I can't risk getting my fabric caught on stuff. So I think I'm going to cut it down, and usually my favorite length is about 21 inches, so I need to measure it out and then make a seam on it. This is pretty simple. We're just gonna go, and because this material is kind of funky, we're going to just lay it down, and then we're gonna measure out, I think 21 inches. Let's measure out 25 inches, and then I'll cut it from there. We will measure out 25 and mark it. Okay. A little bit more space. Now we lay it here. It's fine. I promise it's fine. Ooh, I have more material for sleeves. Okay, so there it is. It looks very short, but I am also very tiny. So yeah, it's literally the exact same length as my skirt. So I nailed it. All right. Now, like I had mentioned before, this is a very simple dress. So now that we cut the bottom and it is lined up pretty well, we're gonna fold it over about 1/4 of an inch and then fold it over again. We're pretty much just adding in our hem at the very bottom. Okay, let's sew this now. Alrighty, so we are officially done with the dress. I got it completely sewn at the bottom, hemmed and taken care of, and she is done. There's a couple threads apparently what I did not take out, so we'll work on cleaning it up a little bit. But she is officially done. Now, I'll try it on for you guys in the morning, but I should probably head to sleep now because it is late. And I'm thinking about adding sleeves, but I'm not sure. I got a chance to sleep and now I am back at it. So I figured I would make puffy sleeves. I think I showed you guys this last night. It's just a little tube and it is just a very simple sewing project to make puffy sleeves for this dress. I didn't want to put too much work into it. I did make an alternative sleeve last night, but it isn't my favorite. Like, it looks pretty cool, but not once it's on. So this is pretty simple. So I grabbed a piece of fabric and then I sewed just a straight stitch and locked both ends on it. And then after that, I went through and started doing a hem on both sides. I showed you guys last night how to roll a hem for the bottom of the dress. I make sure that when I get to the very end of that hem, I leave a tiny little opening. Then I grab my piece of elastic and I add a safety pin. You attach the safety pin to the end of your piece of elastic, So I want the cuff to be right here on my arm. So I made that measurement. Once you get that measurement and you cut your exact amount that you need of elastic, it'll be stretchy, but it'll be the size that you need when you want it to be tight. So my 10-inch piece of elastic goes into the tiny little opening that I had left open, and we start working it through. Alrighty, so now I'm pinning down about 4 inches of the fabric, and I pretty much just put the sleeve inside of the dress, and I'm going to sew these 4 inches, and then when it's sewn, it'll just flip out and it'll be ready and attached for me to wear. Now we can try it on. So I officially got the sleeves attached to it, and the dress is pretty much done at this point. It looks really short, but I'm also really tiny. So I'm excited to try it on and see what we ended up coming up with on this dress. I think this is the front. Yes, okay, let's go do a try on.